I think they're doing some shady marketing shiz. Hey everybody, my name is Lana McCarthy. I am a registered dietitian. Welcome to my channel. I am extremely passionate about health, wellness, food, but I also love investigating pretty much everything. I love doing research so that you don't have to. If that sounds like something that's interesting to you, hit the subscribe button and slap that bell to make sure that you get notified whenever I put out a new video. Today, I'm going to be talking about the latest, greatest wellness / weight loss / diet but not a diet app, Noom. Practically everyone I know has seen a Noom ad. When news of this app started trickling through the dietitian community, first it was kind of like, what is this thing? There was the second reaction of, oh God, it's probably just like Weight Watchers. This is just another restrictive diet. Noom sucks. I hadn't really made up my mind yet. I wanted to find out what Noom actually was. So I decided to go undercover as a dietective. I made an account and I decided to go through their 2-week trial. I collected way too much information to fit into one video, so I'm breaking this up into 2 parts. Part 1 is going to talk about what Noom is, how much it costs, what kind of features you get, what the claims are from Noom, from marketing claims to claiming that Noom is backed by research, and then is there any truth to their claims? According to Noom, it is the world's leading behavior change company, disrupting the weight loss and healthcare industries by combining the power of artificial intelligence, mobile tech, and psychology with the empathy of over 1,000 personal coaches. Noom helps people live healthier lives by changing their long-term habits. So Noom is an app that you can easily download to your phone. It is free to download. You can sign up for a 2-week trial. The Noom app is pretty much every fitness tracking, food tracking app combined into one. You're gonna get a food tracker, a step tracker if you hook it up to the health app in your phone. You track your weight, you track your water, count your calories. It also has a simplified food system to help kind of guide you through how to make decisions about food, very similar to Weight Watchers. But where Noom goes above and beyond other applications is with their behavioral / psychology aspect. They claim to use cognitive behavioral therapy to really get down into the psychology of why you do what you do, why you want to lose weight, what triggers you. Also the availability of live health coaches and also registered dietitians to help support you. Noom also tries really hard to differentiate itself from other types of diets, presents a lot of information about how restrictive diets can lead to yo-yo dieting and they don't work long term. And Noom is different because it's not like that. It's not like all the other diet apps. It's a cool diet app. Noom says it's not a diet, but then it says it's the last weight loss program you'll ever need. This can be very confusing because in some of their ads, they say that Noom is the best diet, but then in the same ad, it says lose weight without diets. Which is it, Noom? Pick a frickin' lane. As I said, Noom offers you a free 2-week trial. After your 2-week trial ends though, if you don't cancel it in time, you will be charged and it will start at around I believe it's $59 a month. So some might argue that that's pretty steep considering it's basically just a weight loss application, but you are getting the one-on-one personalized coaching with health coaches, as well as possibly a registered dietitian. You're also getting group coaching and they're giving you daily educational lessons and all kinds of stuff. So it's still expensive in my opinion. You decide for yourself. The more months you sign up for, basically, the less it's gonna cost you, which is typical. So here's the warning about the 2-week trial. Noom currently has thousands of customer complaints regarding the customer service they've received from Noom or the fact that they signed up for the 2-week trial, canceled their trial on time, and were still charged. And then they had difficulty working with customer service, talking to anybody, getting a human to try and be like, hey, I want my money back. Be wary of that. So how is it different from other diet apps? Because they claim that psychologists created it. This is not true, which I will get into later. There is a clinical psychologist who is a part of the Noom, and they do use a lot of this cognitive behavioral therapy and a lot of psychology. That's how they claim that it's different. It's not just counting calories, it's not restrictive. You're improving your relationship with food by analyzing yourself on a psychological level. Another way that it's different is it has these educational articles. I say they're super quick blurbs of information. They take 60 seconds to a minute, maybe 2 minutes at most to read. Now, while I have issues with that because I don't understand how deep you can actually go into a topic with just a couple bullet points. On the other hand, I also understand that our attention spans are just non-existent anymore. We have information overload in our brain. So I kind of actually enjoyed and also respected the way that Noom put together educational pieces in a very digestible, non-threatening, fast way. I would like to see this actually tested to see how successful it is in getting people to learn about these complex topics. This is absolutely 100% false. Being a registered dietitian is actually my second career. Before, I was working in the video game industry, and the last about 5 years of that career was in the startup, techie, social media world in San Francisco, California, which is the heart of, all things tech and startup. It's a very specific culture with a very specific mindset. It's super easy for me to immediately recognize the tactics that people use that come from that industry. So when I first started Noom, my immediate reaction was like, startup, techie, engineer, entrepreneurs made this. Noom was not created by psychologists. It was not created by dietitians, doctors. It was two guys, one a software engineer, the other, I believe, also a software engineer, self-professed serial entrepreneur since the age of 19. If I'm going to look at this from the perspective of startup culture, these two guys saw a hole in the market, not knowing anything about nutrition or dieting or what have you. Let's fill that hole and let's make millions of dollars. If you were looking for a legal advice app, would you purchase one that was created by a professional chef or anybody who had no experience in law whatsoever? Or would you feel more comfortable purchasing that app if it was created by a lawyer or a judge? Though Noom wasn't created by psychologists, in around 2012, they did bring on a clinical psychologist, which is when they started adding the whole psychological aspects to Noom. But I'm not sure how I feel about this guy. People don't seem to take nutrition seriously. Everybody thinks they can talk about it and everybody's an expert. So this guy is a clinical psychologist, but on his website, he says that he specializes in helping people overcome anxiety and depression, cope with difficult life transitions, and lose weight. I couldn't find anything on his website that said he even had a certification in nutritional science or anything. What makes you think that you're an authority on helping people to lose weight? I understand there's a psychological aspect to food and eating, but I also was trained somewhat in the psychological aspect of food. Does that mean that I can say that I help people to lose weight, develop a healthier relationship with food, and also help people cope with anxiety and depression? Suddenly that sounds weird, right? Because I'm not a clinical psychologist. This was when I had a lot of fun because it's not that I'm a mean-spirited person. I just love uncovering truths behind things. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. During my investigation and 2-week trial, I saw 3 studies that kept being referenced by Noom. So the first study, Noom says 64% of Noom users lost 5% or more of their body weight. What they don't tell you is this was a research study conducted by Noom. They paid for it. Every author of the study was a Noom employee. There's a little something called funder's bias. You can look it up. It's very real. Studies that are funded by a company that has something to gain from it report better results than if it wasn't funded by that company. Not to say that definitely these results are incorrect, but it will make you think about it differently and be a little bit more wary, right? 65% of Noom users did lose around 5% of their body weight. But here are the things that they don't tell you. Generally, research agrees that people who start restrictive diets, such as low-calorie diets, will lose about 5 to 10% of their body weight in the first 3 to 4 months. After that, they tend to hit the dreaded weight loss plateau, which I'm sure you've either experienced on your own or you've heard about. So what Noom doesn't tell you is that the Noom users followed this exact pattern. While there was a significant amount of weight loss between the first day and the third or fourth month, that weight loss dropped by 65% between month 4 and the end of the study. Noom users hit the low-calorie weight loss plateau just like any other restrictive diet. Noom is reporting this as very successful, help people lose 5% of their body weight. What the actual research shows is that while Noom users lost 5% of their body weight, Noom was just as temporarily successful and eventually as unsuccessful as every other restrictive diet. The second study claims that 78% of Noom users sustained their weight loss for 9 months. So not only is Noom great at helping people lose weight, but it's better than other restrictive diets by helping them actually maintain that weight. And that is 100% completely false. That is not what the researchers reported. What the researchers said was that 78% of Noom users reported losing weight while using the app. This does not mean that they maintained the weight. That could be that 78% of those people lost 1 pound through the entire 9 months. It could be that they lost 20 pounds and regained it. Basically, what that could mean is that 78% lost some amount of weight. It doesn't say how much that weight is. It doesn't say that they sustained it in any way. So the last study is that Noom ranked number 1 out of 800 other weight loss apps when reviewed by these researchers. They developed like a point system that rated different health apps based on accuracy of their information, if they were using behavioral therapies, all kinds of stuff. So Noom is like, hey, we ranked number 1 out of 800. Well, that's not true. Again, apparently their marketing team just skims research articles because they've never been taught how to read them. While the authors looked at 800 health apps in the marketplace, they only selected 28 that matched their criteria. So Noom did not rank number 1 out of 100, they ranked number 1 out of 28. That's a big difference. Now, I would like you to hear what the researchers said about all of the apps in general. Overall, the most popular commercial weight loss apps are suboptimal in quality, meaning they suck. Given the inadequate scientific coverage and accuracy of weight-related information and the relative absence of behavior change techniques across the apps reviewed. It means that all of the apps sucked, according to these researchers. Noom was the least sucky out of all of them. So I find it really funny that Noom is the way they spin these things, man. What are my final thoughts about Noom overall as a company? Let's talk about what I like first of all. What I like is that Noom is visually appealing. It's very accessible. You can download it immediately on your phone. It's very easy to use. There's no learning curve to get started, basically. They guide you through everything in a seamless tutorial, which you will learn more about in part 2. The only limiting factor of accessibility for me though is that there are a lot of people in America who will not be able to afford $60 a month for this app. However, for other people who suffer from diabetes, obesity, metabolic syndrome, who maybe can afford that but can't afford seeing a registered dietitian, this may be a somewhat good alternative for them. I love the company's mission. I love the fact that they want to bridge the gap between technology and health and psychology, wellness, all of that. With how our world is changing, this is something that we really need to put our focus on. And who could argue with the promotion of sustainable long-term life changes as opposed to continuing the same cycle of fad diet after fad diet? I also love how Noom is different from other apps by bringing in the psychology aspect to really get to the heart of, what do you think about food? What triggers you to suddenly either binge or restrict, or why do you make the choices about what you eat? And how can we get to the heart of that relationship and then maybe tweak it a bit to make it a little bit healthier? I love the fact that they have a clinical psychologist on board. I also like the fact that they have certified health coaches and registered dietitians. However, I don't like how this is executed, and you'll hear more about that in part 2. So what don't I like? I don't trust this company at all. You're messing with the wrong dietitian, because this is a dietitian who used to work in your arena. I'm somebody who used these deceptive tactics to sell things to people in the past and didn't like that and felt dirty, so decided to foolishly go thousands of dollars into debt to become a registered dietitian who gets paid shit. Their health and research claims are completely bogus. Either they are misleading and making you think they're better than they are, or they're absolutely completely false. So what I'm seeing thus far is that there is no research currently supporting that Noom is any different from any other type of restrictive diet. Until I see the research proving that they are different, I'm not gonna believe that they are different. They have a 3-year-long history now of thousands of customer complaints of them deceiving customers and telling them they can sign up for this 2-week trial, and then they end up getting charged anyway. This is what influences me trusting them or not. They're dishonest in their marketing, they're dishonest in their statements. It was not created by a psychologist. Noom is, as I've stated in my blog, is like a teenager going through a personality crisis. It can't figure out what it wants to be. It claims it's not a diet, but then it advertises itself as a diet and then attacks other diets, even though it's a diet. It claims it's not restrictive, but then it places people on 1,200 calorie diets and promotes a lot of restrictive dieting beliefs, which I'll get into in part 2. It promotes healthy eating, but then it promises extreme weight loss in a very short amount of time and promotes disordered eating, which again, I'll get into in part 2. It promotes long-term sustainable change, but then makes these statements like, lose all your weight in 16 weeks. What is it? Is it super fast weight loss, or is it long-term sustainable? I don't know, Noom. Whenever I witness this happening in the startup industry, it's because there are too many cooks in the kitchen who don't know what they're doing. I believe that there are too many cooks in the Noom kitchen that have literally no experience in nutrition or health whatsoever. So overall, my first impression of Noom was kind of meh. It has just so many of the same behaviors that I've seen with other startup companies. Based on my research, and everything that I've experienced, I see a negative ending for Noom. Everything that the founders are doing right now is not hiring on more health professionals so that they could perfect their app and make it actually a very good product, but they're bringing on marketing people and communications experts and all this stuff. And these are all signs to me that they just want to grow. They want to make sure that this company is worth a lot so that when they IPO, they make millions, and then they sell the company, move on, start a new startup, probably related to Noom in like Maybe it's a Noom for just psychology. Maybe it's a Noom for, I don't know, pet weight. Leaving its employees and its users who are now stuck on this yo-yo diet cycle that they promised wouldn't happen in the dust. There's already rumors that they're supposed to go IPO this year, so that backs what I'm saying. So I think that Noom is gonna be super successful for a very short amount of time, and then it's just gonna fizzle out when they sell the company, hand it off to somebody else, and more people realize that this Noom app just doesn't work. And we won't know long-term what happens to these people until it's too late. But I feel like Noom has a lot of potential. So here's how I think they can improve. First of all, they definitely need somebody in charge of their marketing and messaging, like one person who knows what they're doing. They need to stop with the misleading interpretation of results from studies. They need to stop with the down and outright lies, okay? They need to fix their inconsistent messaging of we're a diet, we're not a diet, we're restrictive, we're not restrictive, this is long-term, it's not long-term. They need somebody at the top who's a registered dietitian who is guiding the entire nutrition portion of this app. So yeah, Noom, call me if you need a consultant. No hard feelings, okay? Yeah, that sounds good, yeah. They need to bring more health experts into top positions just in general, because this is a health and wellness app. This is not a, game. This is for real, and you could be damaging people long-term by teaching them things that are dangerous, that promote disordered eating, and that put them on a cycle for the rest of their lives. They need to focus less on this growth crap and focus more on making their product better. I honestly think that if they just fixed these things, they could be one of the best weight loss apps on the market. I'm actually extremely impressed with what they created overall. There's a lot of work that went into this application for sure, but the problems with it are going to, I feel, just tank it. If you had great success with it, that's cool. Not gonna argue with that. I'm just making my evaluation based on my professional expertise and my personal experience with companies such as this. So if you leave a comment below, and it is a positive comment about Noom, if you do not include that you were not incentivized in any way for this comment, I'm not going to add your comment. I would love to hear from you if you had a positive experience or a negative experience, but I don't want to hear from people who cannot make the claim that they were not incentivized by Noom in any way, shape, or form. I just don't want to waste my time with that. Hopefully y'all found that helpful. Part 2 is going to be coming, where it's actually my personal experience with Noom, my complete evaluation of their nutrition portion. That's when the gloves really come off, y'all, because that is my area. I need to eat food. So y'all have a great day. Definitely subscribe if you enjoyed this. Okay,